Welcome, welcome. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Don't have anybody on yet. So we'll give it, I'm only on 17 seconds. So we're going to give it just a couple of minutes. No, I'm not going to give it very long. Hi, I've got one person in. Give me 1 second. I've got to take something for a raging freaking headache. So give me just a second. Get everything lined up here. Be right back. I'm going to go off screen for just a second. Okay. Okay, I am back. Whew. What a day. What a day, what a day, what a day. I gotta take some leave. I trusty leave. For my headache. That is not going away by itself. Yay. Oh, I've got two on. Hi, guys. How are you? Glad you could make it. Well, we lost one. Okay. Whatever. Bye. I'm sitting at 150. I'm going to wait till it rolls over to 3 just to give it another minute. See if anybody else jumps on. It may be me and my one and only person as usual, which is fine. As you know, if it's the same person that I always have, which I still don't know who you are, which is fine. I call you my one lonely nut. I adore my one lonely nut. Even though I don't know who you are, I think you're fantastic. So if it's just us, then it's just us and we're going to have a good time. So if it's not my one lonely nut that is with me all the time, then you're going to be called my one lonely nut tonight. So, my dog is in the background, rooting around as he likes to do. Oh, okay. Get all my stuff here together, ready for. I've been rushing around since 4:30 when I got off work, trying to get some stuff done. Yeah. That's what I want to do. All right, we're at 3. So let's go. Let's hit it and get it. So, wow, what a week we're having. What a week we're having. Hi, I've got a second. Glad you could join us this evening. Glad to have you. Welcome if this is your first time. If you guys are comfortable and want to, drop your name in the chat. You do not have to do that, obviously. It's up to you. Say hello. The chat box is open. I'm monitoring it. If you want to join in for a discussion, if you want to ask questions, that is there. I've got it up here on the side so I can see it. If you, hi, Mama. How are you tonight? For the other person that's on, Gina is my mother. So shout outs to the moms. She's on with me tonight. I know she can't always make it. So hi, Mama. Questions about anything that I'm going to go over, feel free to ask. If there's a topic you want to bring up, shoot it up in the comments. We can go over that too. I've only got a couple of orders to go over because one of the orders was nothing but a revocation of orders and amendments, and I didn't even get all of those printed off because there was freaking so many of them. So I just want to lay a little bit of groundwork for this. my main thing tonight with this, we're holding steadfast in the idea that something is brewing and something is going on. There has been a lot of reports of gunfire, explosions, smoke coming from, parts of Washington, D.C., buses carrying, JAG attorneys in the middle of the night. And these are eyewitness accounts that have been plastered all over independent media sources. Obviously, I do not watch the fake media. Throw a thumbs up if you are not watching the fake news anymore. We have all been enlightened to Project Mockingbird and know what that CIA agenda is. And I'm not going to be zombified into believing that horse shit anymore. When I was younger, I was one of the brain dead. We all were. But we've red pilled up, so we're smart enough to know where we're going with that. So there's accounts of this stuff going on. First-hand accounts, eyewitnesses. There's even footage out there, of this stuff going on. So, I still hold fast in, yes, we do have to save ourselves. A good friend of mine, she stated that a while back, and I gave her props on another video. She knows who she is, that, we can't rely on a government to save us or one man to save us. And I do believe that as well. But I do believe that we've got, dual governments going on. We've got something going on. And that shadow government that is playing government, they're really exposing themselves for the destruction of America. And hopefully, in due time, we're going to see that all of these executive orders and all these things that they're putting into place are going to be irrelevant. But again, I think it's important that we put this out there, because knowledge is power. And when you see all the things that they're doing and that they're trying to implement, it really goes to show the integrity or lack of what we're dealing with up there. And the mindset and the determination of those individuals to destroy this great country of ours. So that's kind of where I am. So, this first order that we're going to talk about, I think is kind of funny, considering all the talk lately about the new quantum financial markets that is supposedly being uploaded and putting into place in the last week or two, that's been put online. On February 24th, the executive order of 14017 was signed in about America's supply chains. Now, you're probably wondering what that has to do with the new financial market. You would think that it wouldn't. But the beauty of it is that there's pieces of it that does. We've been having military since Trump going into the tunnels and the supply routes, and I use that loosely, underground here in the U.S. and all across the world, cleaning that up. And we all know what that's about. That's the cabal using that as their supply chain for pedophilia and for the transportation and moving of human goods, of their human assets, and probably monetary assets as well. I'm not going to be naive enough to think that it's just human assets that they have. I'm sure it's many other assets that they have that they're moving through this network. So when they talk about supply chains, I think we're naive to think that it's talking about just the movement of goods and wealth and what they're talking about in this executive order, because in the beginning of it they clearly state that the needs of the United States as resilient, diverse, and secure supply chains to ensure economic prosperity, national security, pandemics and other biological threats, cyber attacks, climate shocks, and extreme weather events, terrorist attacks, geopolitical and economic competition, other conditions that can reduce critical manufacturing capacity, availability, integrity in critical goods, products, and services. I think it's interesting that they talk about climate shocks, extreme weather events. You didn't see Biden rushing to Texas's aid when they had a severe weather event just a week ago. Well, I think we all know kind of why that is too. China, we got some money for China to experiment with their weather weapons down there. Don't believe me? Look into it. But geopolitical, extreme weather events. I find it funny that on February 24th they're signing this right as all of this is happening. By no means is President Trump perfect. You'll never hear me say that. But I also know, because of past events, that man would have been in Texas trying to figure out what they needed and getting those goods and necessities and services to the people of Texas immediately, considering the natural disaster that they went through. You didn't see hide or hair of Biden. So that says a lot right there too about that whole situation. But they want more resilient supply chains so they can facilitate more domestic production. You say that you want more resilient supply chains for domestic production, but you're shutting down domestic production. Again, this is a facade. This is not anything more than something to look good on paper, trying to cover some tracks for something. You're shutting down the pipelines, you're shutting down offshore drilling, you're shutting down union jobs. You're imposing all these new rules and regulations with the EPA. And we've talked about this in my previous videos, and I've read the EOs and I've explained those. You can't increase and facilitate greater production when you're putting the brakes on these things. So again, they're talking about built-in redundancies and adequate stockpiles. What are we stockpiling? Where are we stockpiling it? Are we stockpiling it underground? Where are these facilities where we're supposed to be stockpiling this kind of stuff? Secure digital network. Cyber. I just don't believe that what they're trying to to portray in this order is really where they're going with it. Especially since, you know, the people that they've got playing in this order is the Secretary of Commerce, the Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs. We've got the Secretary of Defense, and he's going to be acting as the National Defense Stockpile Manager. And he is going to be identifying risks in the supply chain for critical minerals and other identified strategic materials, including rare earth elements. Now, that is interesting because I was listening to a video today, and they were talking about, and let me make sure I get this correct. It was in South America, talking about the natural gemstone. It was when they were talking about the quantum financial system. Some of the things that was backing this country in South America, they're basically backing their note, their dollar, if you will. And it was their natural elemental resources, gemstones, all elemental, mineral, precious metals. So I find it interesting that in this EO, we're discussing that as well. You know, correlation there. A little bit of correlation there. They're trying to see what we have. Why would they be doing that unless, you know, I think that also goes back to gold and silver, you know, the gold and silver standard. What physically do we have? They're looking at that because they know that the US dollar is tanking. They know that the Federal Reserve is tanking. And that we don't have the resource to back the federal dollar or the US dollar as we know it through the Federal Reserve. So that was interesting to me that's they slipped that in there. I think that means more than what it is on the surface again. So yeah, also the Secretary of Health and Human Services is going to be involved in this. So that we have a public health and biological preparedness industrial base. Secretary of Transportation, Secretary of Agriculture, the Defense Intelligence, Cyber, Homeland Security, Health, Climate, Environmental, Natural, Market, Economic, Geopolitical, Human Rights, or forced labor risks or other contingencies that may disrupt, strain, compromise, or eliminate the supply chain, including risk posed by supply chains' reliance on digital products that may be vulnerable to failures or exploitation, and risks resulting from the elimination of or failure to develop domestically the capabilities identified in this section, and that are sufficiently likely to arise so as to require reasonable preparation for their occurrence. It's almost like they're anticipating a breakdown in the supply chain. Could that be our military breaking down that supply chain? Just saying. Throw your thoughts up, guys. So, little interesting tidbits in this. If you want to check it out, that's pretty much all I'm going to cover in it. I think it's some food for thought. Again, I think it's cryptic. And if you're not reading it and you're not paying attention to the real media outlets, the independent outlets of what's going on out there, and you're not reading this stuff, You're going to miss it. So that's why we want to stay informed. That's why we want to watch what they're doing. Cryptic, guys. They think they're smart. They think they're smarter than the American people. I hate to tell them. We are much, much more evolved than they give us credit for. I know we're more evolved than they give us credit for. It's amazing to me how stupid they think we are, how asleep they think we are. So this next one was also done on February 24th. I think this other one was done on February 24th. Yeah. So this one was also done on February 24th. This was the order right after. It was 140.18. This is nothing but a revocation of certain presidential actions. That is actually the name of it. Revocation of certain presidential actions. So he dived right on in and just started revoking some stuff. The first one we're going to talk about is the core principles for regulating the United States financial system. This was an EO that President Trump did on February 3rd of 2017, EO number 13772. This is where he wanted to regulate the financial system. He wanted America to make independent financial decisions. And have choices in marketplaces, save for retirements, build individual wealth. He wanted to prevent taxpayer-funded bailouts, foster economic growth through rigorous regulatory impact analysis and address systemic risk, enable American companies to be competitive in foreign firms, whether that be through domestic or foreign markets, advance American interests in international financial regulatory negotiations. And he also wanted to restore public accountability within the federal financial regulatory agencies. So we got rid of this because heaven forbid, we hold the federal government fiscally, financially responsible and make it where the American company, the American people can take ownership of their own wealth. Again, another prime example of the imminent priority to dismantle America first. I mean, we can't have America wealth here in America. That is not a democratic policy. That's not a policy of the left. I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. The strategic plan of the Democrats and the left is to enslave us in chains of socialism and government subsidy programs. That's the road they want to lead us down. And I understand that trust me, these programs were never designed for someone to have to live on them. These programs were designed to assist families and people who fell on hard times and were in need. And they are great programs. They are fantastic programs for that. But the problem is that the people who need the programs often don't qualify for the programs. But the people who want to live on the programs are often kept on the programs, and they're the ones that qualify for the programs. It is a broken system, and it needs to be fixed. It needs to be completely revamped. That's for another day, but I'm just telling you that is the key core problem. And I can't tell you how I know it, but I know it for a fact. And we'll leave that there. The next executive order that Biden revoked in this same order, 140-18 on February 24th, was Executive Order from April 10th, 2018, reducing poverty in America by promoting opportunity and economic mobility. Order 13828. Again, he goes into, United States and the Constitution founded on principles of freedom, equal opportunity, ensure all Americans could realize the benefits of those principles. Again, constitutionally based. Unfortunately, and this is this leads right into from what I was saying. And I will tell you, I have not read this until right now. And this is hilarious. Hilarious, not funny, but hilarious that it leads from what I just said right into this. Unfortunately, wait a minute, let me back up. Government established programs to help families with basic unmet needs. Unfortunately, many of the programs designed to help families have instead delayed economic independence, perpetuated poverty, and weakened family bonds. Bipartisan welfare reform enacted in 1996, and yes, 1996 is a big part of welfare programs, was a step toward eliminating the economic stagnation and social harm that can result from long-term governmental dependence. And welfare system still traps many recipients, especially children, in poverty, and is in need of further reform and modernization in order to increase self-sufficiency, well-being, and economic mobility. Not much, I said it in layman's terms. ODT said it a little bit more eloquently than I did, but basically we just said the same thing. He goes into saying that the government spent more than $700 billion on low-income assistance. Since its inception, the welfare system has grown into a large bureaucracy, and that people are enrolled in a program rather than by how, that measuring the success of the program is by how many people are enrolled in that program rather than by how many have moved from poverty into financial independence. And that is true. That is very true. The federal government's role is to clear paths to self-sufficiency, reserving public assistance programs for those who are truly in need. So it goes on into saying that in his order, it shall be the policy of the federal government to reform the welfare system of the United States so that it empowers people in a manner that is consistent and applicable with law, to improve employment outcomes and economic independence, to promote strong social networks as a way of sustainably escaping poverty, address the challenges of populations that may particularly struggle to find and maintain employment, balance flexibility and accountability both to measure the state, local, and tribal governments and other institutions that may tailor their public assistance programs to the unique needs of their communities, Reduce the size of bureaucracy and streamline services to promote the effective use of resources. Reserve benefits for people with low incomes and limited assets. Reduce wasteful spending by consolidating or eliminating federal programs that are duplicative or ineffective. Empower the private sector as well as local communities to develop and apply locally based solutions to poverty. Man, yeah. And he got a lot of flack from this. I remember when he did this, he got a lot of flack from it. But we have now ixnayed this. Said, nope, we're going to revoke it. Again, guys, it's to keep people enslaved in the welfare programs because that's a form of socialism. And people don't see it. Yes, I get it. There's people that need it on a temporary basis until they get up on their feet again. It happens. I get it. More than you know. I get it. But I've seen the other side of it. And that's got to change. And he was trying to change it. And man, they hammered his ass for it. Heaven forbid, you expect somebody to actually try to get out and get a job. You may have a low-paying job, and you have 3 kids at home, and your husband left you, and you need help for a little while. And that's okay. It's not okay to pop 3 babies out and tell us, I'm not going to work. You're going to take care of me and my kids. That shit's not okay. Karen, get a job. But he was called a racist for it. Well, I guess that makes me a racist too, because I agree with it. If you're out there busting your ass, working hard, and you still need help feeding your kids, cool. I will help you feed your kids. My tax dollars, I am okay with my tax dollars helping you feed your kids if you are busting your ass and working your ass off. That is okay. It's when you want to lay around in your free government apartment with your free Wi-Fi and your free transportation and your free childcare, knowing you don't need free childcare because you ain't got a job to go to because you refuse to work. Don't get me preaching, because I see the shit. I've seen the shit, and it happens. I digress. Let's move on to the next one before I get myself in trouble, because I'm on the verge of getting myself in trouble. All right. Next EO that he revocated, January 29th, 2020. This is actually not an EO. This is a memorandum. This is the delegation of certain authority under the Federal Service Labor Management Relations Statute. This was a memorandum for the Secretary of Defense. This is national security interests. When new missions emerge or existing ones involve the Department of Defense and require maximum flexibility to respond to threats to carry out its mission of protecting the American people, that flexibility requires that military and civilian leadership manage their organizations to cultivate a lethal, agile force adaptive to new technologies and posture changes. Where collective bargaining is incompatible with these organizations' missions, the Department of Defense should not be forced to sacrifice its national security mission and instead seek relief through third parties and administrative fora. So he ixnayed that. Any questions, comments from you guys yet? Mom, I know you got something to say. Watching me almost get my ass in trouble here just a minute ago. Why didn't you tell me to shut up? Nothing, Mama? All right. Any questions, comments about anything that I've read so far? I'll give you a second to type if anybody's typing. All right. Okay, so this is the last one I was able to get printed out. Like I said, I had a super busy day at work today. And I don't have long enough on my lunch break to unfortunately go through all this and do all the things that I need to do. This is another executive order. This one is 13/9/24. It was done by Trump on May 19th, 2020. This was regulatory relief to support economic recovery. This has to do with COVID. Lovely freaking COVID. I'm so sick of hearing about COVID. We're going to get to that in a minute too. So, first detected in Wuhan, the People's Republic of China, causing an outbreak of the disease COVID-19, now spread globally. Talking about the action he took to control the spread in the U.S. by suspending entry. Really, LOL. No, this is not Biden's order. This is Trump's order from 2020, Mom, that I'm reading now. This is the one that was revoked. Although it wouldn't surprise me if Dementia Joe took credit for that at this point. Because, he took credit for the vaccine already. So, hey, who's to say what he's going to take credit for next? The invention of the wheel, maybe. I don't know. But he is talking about how he suspended entry of certain foreign nationals who would present a risk of transmitting the virus, accelerating acquisitions of personal protective equipment, bringing new diagnostic capabilities. Policy of the United States to combat the economic consequences of COVID-19. Agencies should address economic emergencies by rescinding, modifying, waiving, or providing exemptions from regulations and other requirements that may inhibit economic recovery consistent with applicable by law, with protection of the public health and safety. Really, this was just, I think, his initial COVID plan. Now that Biden has got his own COVID plan, this, Biden's COVID plan was really sucked anyway, but there's not really much going on with this. Doesn't surprise me they revoked it once Biden came out with his. Well, Biden didn't really come out with his. I'm sure somebody wrote it for him. Jill stamped her forged signature for him on it, and off it went. So, that's that. That's as far as I got with the revocation. There is still several more. One, two. There's still 2 more that I haven't gotten out yet, that I'm going to save for tomorrow, probably on my lunch break, posting a video on. There's 2 more that I want to look at. So look for those tomorrow. I'll post up a video tomorrow on my lunch break. So that's not quite done yet. Like I said, I didn't have time to finish that off today. So we'll do a continuation on that tomorrow. Some other interesting things. What I wanted to kind of go back to, well, and before I do that, any topics that you guys have been hearing about in non-mainstream media that you guys want to bring up and discuss? I'm going to open the floor. I lost one. That's okay. I'm going to open the floor for a few minutes and see if there's any topics that you guys want to talk about, non-mainstream media, no fake news, that you guys have been hearing about that you want to address, you want to do a roundtable discussion on really quick. Oh, got you back. I don't know how much of that you heard, who we lost. Now that the EO part is done, before I go into the other, any non-mainstream media topics that you have been hearing, any stories that you want to open up the floor to discuss, post up, and we can talk about those before we move on into the next little segment. I'm open for some roundtable discussion. Just throw it up and we'll hammer into it. Nothing? You guys got nothing? Come on, I know you guys are watching stuff. You're listening to stuff. You guys just left me so much. You just want to hear me talk, don't you? Want to hear me go batshit crazy. Dr. Seuss, yes. Isn't that something? I want to say I'm surprised, but nothing that the left does surprises me at this point. I can't. I mean, I read Dr. Seuss as a kid. I read Dr. Seuss to my nephew. I cannot think of any Dr. Seuss material that I can pinpoint as being racist, homophobic, xenophobic. I mean, he made some really strange characters. I mean, the man had an imagination. He was a genius. So I would like clarification on where they are getting this idea that he is racist or homophobic or xenophobic, and that there's underlying content to support that in his books. Because I'm pretty sure if we backed them in a corner and asked them, they couldn't give us any. I mean, this author has been celebrated for decades. As far as children's literature goes, I mean, he's right up there with the greats like, Shakespeare and some of the others, but on a children's level. So, are they going to go after Shel Silverstein next? I mean, that, and that leads right into, the whole Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head thing. I mean, again, you can't make this stuff up. I'm pretty sure that the kids that are reading Green Eggs and Ham and The Places You'll Go and The Cat in the Hat and who are playing with Mr. Potato Head, they're not thinking about the color of the Grinch. I don't get it, or, whether or not Mr. Potato Head has a mustache or big pink lips or, I don't know. I don't know. It's, but again, that goes back to love him or hate him, and I know a lot of people hate him, and that, to each their own. I happen to kind of like the guy. Yes, they do want to squelch imagination. I mean, I'm an only child. I had to have an imagination growing up. I read all kinds of books. I had a very vivid imagination. I had to, I had to entertain myself a lot. And I think that induces free thinking and free thought. Again, the places you'll go, when you dive into a book, you can go anywhere you want to. But, again, love him or hate him. Rand Paul made me really proud last week when he was interviewing the, I don't know what she, and I'm going to use the word she loosely, was picked for on Biden's administration, the transgender chick. He grilled her, as he should have, because she thinks that it's okay to give hormone replacements and sex change operations to minors without parental consent. And she never would answer the question under oath. And he grilled her hard, and he caught a lot of flack for it. And I was really proud of him for not backing down on her on that, because she kept saying, I'd be more than happy to go to your office and discuss this with you. And he was like, no, I'm asking you now. I'm asking you under oath right here to answer the question. And when she continued to not answer his questions, he wanted it put on record that under oath she was refusing to answer. And that says a whole lot about, again, what this administration and what the left is doing and wanting to do to this younger generation of kids. You're under 18, you can't go buy a beer, but they're going to let you chop your penis off. And let you take hormone drugs to change your gender. That's not okay. What you want to do with your own body after you're an adult is your business. I don't have to agree with it. It's none of my business. But if you are under the age of 18, you are still a child, you are a minor, and you do not have the mental capacity. Your brain has not developed. Your brain, and it's scientifically proven, your brain cognitively is not through developing really into your 20s. So you do not have the mental capacity to make life altering, physical altering decisions like that when you are a minor. So that's a very dangerous game to play with children's lives. It's irresponsible. It's not even borderline. That's child abuse. And I was very proud of him for not backing down on that issue, because we don't need to back down on those issues when it concerns children. It just goes to show how unimportant children are to the left, and what they, the only reason they want to be able to do that to children is because they can abuse them easier. They can abuse them a lot easier when they are broken and confused, and they're easier to manipulate. So that's the goal of the cabal right there. Manipulation of children. So it's disgusting. These sick fucks are going to get what's coming to them eventually. I can't wait for that day. They all need to be lined up to some firing squads. And that's the easy way out. I have a better idea of what we can do to them, but I'm just a lonely little country girl. They're not going to take my advice on what we can do to them. It'd be a hell of a lot more fun to watch. Yeah. So I've been hearing a little bit, I'm going to tread lightly on this one. Because again, I still think there's bigger power plays at work. I still feel like I can't. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said early on in the video, that what I feel like is a very dear friend of mine, I've known her for a while now, said that we have to save ourselves. And I agree with that. And I did a lot of soul searching after hearing that in a couple of other places after she had said it. And I believe that is true. I believe that we have to pick ourselves up, and we have to do, internally what we need to do to save ourselves. But I also still believe that there is way too much chatter. And I know there's a lot of patriots who are bagging Trump still about, you abandoned us when we needed you the most. I still can't give up a little bit of that faith and hope because of the chatter that's going on, that there is still some bigger play at work. And it may a good power play is not going to reveal every move they make before they make it. That's just dumb. So you're hearing over on this site and this site that this date and this date, I put zero stock in that. And I advise most of you to put zero stock in that as well, because come on. Let's revert back to when we were teenagers. And I'm just going to use this as an example, and it's a terrible example, but I'm going to use it anyway. If, let's say, I'm pissed off at some other girl in high school, and I'm going to jump her ass. And I don't want her to know it's coming. Am I going to go tell everybody when I'm going to do it? No. Because then she's going to know I'm going to do it, and she's not going to be where I need her to be to do it. You keep that shit to yourself, and you just pop up where she is, and you hammer her ass into the ground, and you make your point known. That guess what? You don't know, you're not going to see me coming. I'm just going to be there, and I'm going to stomp your ass into the ground. Right? Come on, guys. It's not rocket science. So, yes, I've been listening to Scott McKay a lot. He doesn't put a lot of faith into numbers either. I like Scott McKay. But he has had some people on there that I'm just kind of like, again, it goes back to what I have said in some of my other videos. And he has said it on his after the fact that I said it on one of mine. And I agree wholeheartedly with him on this. Patriots have to stop attacking patriots. You are, by vilifying each other, you are weakening the movement. I may not agree with what you say on your channel over here, but I'm not going to come out and vilify you on my channel and talk about what an idiot I think you are, because that doesn't help the movement as a whole. We don't do that. That's what the left does. Leave that to them. You remember when Michael Obama used to say, they go low, we go high? Well, they've never done that. But that's what we have to do. Like, we're not going to go attack each other. We can't do that. That's a no-no. Smack your hand, shove a sock in your mouth, use your brain, okay? We can't do that. I can't help but think, I've been watching Monkey. I like Monkey. There's been some interesting flight things going on. There was a guy on Scott McKay on Patriot Street Fighters the other day that said, right now, they still are saying that the military is in control and that there's a process that has to happen. A process that we as the American people are not going to see. And this isn't an analogy. It's being done under the cover of night. Not necessarily specifically the cover of night, but some of it is actually being done under the cover of night. And they have to do what they need to do, that they have all the information about, the servers that were hacked on the election, and they have the proof, and that there are steps that have to be taken, and it takes time. And I agree with the theory that if they had done all this prior to letting Biden be inaugurated, then Trump would have just given more fuel to the left to say Trump's a dictator, he's stealing the election, and it would have created mass chaos across the nation. They had to let it play out the way it played out, because you have to open everybody's eyes to what's really going on. And, just like with all these executive orders, they had to let Biden get into the fake shadow government and watch him tear apart this country from all of the wonderful things that Trump did, watch him dismantle it and set us back and do what he's doing and collude with China, which, mind you, is what they had accused Trump of doing with Russia all this time. For the American people on both sides of the aisle to see what the true agenda of the left is and what the Democrats are doing. And also to bring out all of the Republicans and bring to light which ones were traitors. Right? So we had to find that out, because some of them are playing both sides and they were doing it really, really well. Really well. So I have heard that, if we don't see something happen, though, in a couple of months, and it may take a couple of months to finish all this stuff off, clearing out the underground domes and getting that cleaned up, getting the arrests happened. And if all of it's not done by the military, we got to wait a little longer, then, it may have to be, just like my friend said, that's when it's time for the American people to rise up and reform a lawful government and take the country back on our own. And that's where we are. We wait a little longer, give the military time to do what they need to do, see if they're going to do it. And if they don't, then that's when gloves are off and we do it ourselves. And we end up in a situation, that none of us want to be in. Let's just say that none of us really want to be in, but unfortunately, it may come to that. We hope for the best, prepare yourself for the worst, and see how it plays out. That's kind of where we are. I mean, the guy said, keep your ammo dry and just hang on to it for a while. It's you don't need it yet, but you might. And I kind of agree with that. Again, it's where we are, but until then, I think we should all be loud. Have fun being loud. I'm having fun being loud. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Never in a million years. And I say that figuratively, obviously. I'm not a million years old. I know I look it some days, but never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be putting videos on YouTube and be screaming about a patriot movement. And, never did I think I would be here doing this. And yeah, I have 7 subscribers, and yeah, I've got 3 people on my live right now, and I'm this itty bitty little channel, and I don't care. I don't care that I don't have thousands of followers, that I don't, but I feel like I'm doing my little part, I'm screaming loud, and I'm putting my opinions out there, and, you can take it or you can leave it. You can hate me or love me. You can, whatever, but it is what it is. And, but yeah, never thought at 41 years old that I would be living through what we're living through right now. Oh, hi, Papa. So yeah, I mean, and this whole mask mandate bullshit. Thank you, Texas. Thank you, Florida. Andy, suck it. I mean, I'm not wearing your damn mask. You can kiss my ass. It's not happening. I'm done. I'm done wearing it. I'll tell you what happened to me the other night. Just for all of you that are watching. And I'm going to blast them on this video. I am going to do it. I went and got my nails done at Nailed It Salon in Shelbyville. Fantastic place, by the way. If you're needing your nails done, go see Mandy, Alan, Steve. They're great. Great place. They are in the little shopping center on 53 by Buffalo Wings and Rings. Buffalo Wings and Rings. You suck. You suck donkey balls. Okay? And I'm going to tell you why you suck donkey balls. We got done getting our nails done. We were going to order food to take back to my house. Me and a friend of mine that I was with, her boyfriend. My husband was on a fire run at the time. So we walk in. None of us had masks on. Said, we'd like to place a takeout order. The little girl at the counter, probably 17, 16 years old, pops off with, you need to wear a mask while you're in here. We can't have you walking around without a mask on. My response to her was, I'm not walking around in here without a mask on. I want to place a to-go order. You still have to be wearing a mask. I said, fine, give me a menu and I'll walk outside and figure out what I want. Because I'm not going to wear a mask. And she looks at me like this. And I snatched the menu out of her hand and I walked the fuck outside. Yes, I did. Figure out what I want to eat. My friends that are with me figure out what they want to eat. We walk back in. I said, I'd like to place a to-go order. And they say, you have to order in the back, but you have to put a mask on. All right. So I pull it up. And as soon as the guy turns around, I pull it back down and I walk through the damn restaurant. Fuck you, I'm not wearing a mask. So I get back to the little ordering counter. And the little girl is probably 2 or 3 feet away from me, got her mask on, and I don't have mine on. And she is like pulling back from me. Like I have the fucking plague. Okay? And I'm just ordering away. And she's just looking at me like, and just pulling back. Okay, Karen, if your mask works, and there's 2 or 3 feet between us, and your mask works, and I'm going to be ordering and then going and sitting outside in my car waiting for it, what is the problem? There shouldn't be one. You little idiot tween. So the rest of my people order. I walked straight out the front door, right through the restaurant, no mask on. So yeah, I'm walking around in the restaurant with no mask on. I don't care. Do you think anybody said anything to me? No, except for little princess at the front, who's on a power trip. Let me tell you something. You are like 16 years old. I am 40. Kiss my ass. I'm old enough to be your mother. And apparently your mother wasn't smart enough to bend you over her knee and whoop your ass a few times, and you need it done. So yeah, wings and rings, you need to retrain your staff. Because there's no reason for your little girl at the front to be a bitch when somebody walks in. There's another rant for the night. So, the food was great, by the way. Service sucked. But no, I'm not wearing your masks. Not doing it. Not doing it. So that's been my thing the last few days. Take your mask off. Take the fucking mask off. It's okay. You would be surprised how many times that you're going to go into a store with no mask on. And somebody in that store who despises wearing a mask is going to look at you and say, or in their mind, think, oh, she's not wearing a mask. She's not wearing a mask. And that might give them the courage to do, you know what? Take their mask off too. And if everybody starts taking their masks off, guess what? You don't have any more mask problems. Take them off. Take them off. Take them off. That's all you gotta do. Take them off. Just do it. It is liberating. Take that face diaper off your face. It'll feel so good. Promise. Don't worry about what somebody says to you. Tell them no. What are they going to do? Kick you out of their store? Okay. Go down the road to another store who won't make me wear a mask. It's okay. Somebody else will take my business. Promise. Take your masks off. Free your face. My lovelies, free it. Any questions, comments, concerns? Anything? Anything? Are you thoroughly entertained yet, Pops? I'm super spunky. Y'all, I'm drinking a Mountain Dew. It tastes a little like shit, but I'm drinking one. I was getting a headache. I think it was because I needed more caffeine. I hadn't had caffeine since this morning with my coffee. Getting kind of dangerous. It's getting dangerous in the house. All right. Any other topics of conversation that you guys have heard about? Again, no mainstream fake news media. We don't do that here on this channel. We don't talk about anything that the machine is pushing. But if there's anything else you want to talk about, we can discuss it. I lost. Oh, there's number 3 back. Nothing, guys. Got some more videos to watch. I'm behind on my video watching. Any videos you guys have been watching that are interesting that you want to throw up in the comment section? Chris Weiss. I'm following Chris Weiss, but again, I've got to catch up. I've got to catch up. This week has been crazy. I have not had a chance to catch up on a lot of my video watching. So I'm going to try to do some of that tonight. It's sad. I have a notebook where I sit and I watch videos and I take notes just for these videos. I'm constantly doing that. I have a folder full of EOs. It's ridiculous the amount of stuff that I do for this. So, yeah, again, behind. I worked overtime today. Got to work overtime tomorrow. Little Tanky had a spell last night. So we were kind of monitoring him last night for most of the night, trying to make sure he was okay. God love his little heart. I don't know if he had like a stroke or a little mini seizure or what happened to him, but it was not good. So we had to, I'll call you later after the video, Mom, and tell you what happened. He seems a little bit better today, but he's still moving kind of slow. So, yeah. So my little old man. Yeah, you popped your head up. You heard little old man, didn't you? Yeah, baby. I know. Hi, buddies. Well, if nobody has anything, I'm going to cut it for the night. I'm going to get this posted up in a couple of places. I'll be back on for a video tomorrow on my lunch break. It will probably be another short 30-minute 30-minute video. I'm going to try to rock out the rest of those EOs that were revoked, get those up. I'm going to try to flow through some videos tonight, get some notes taken, and maybe get some of that on there, hopefully. If not tomorrow, get that up on Friday. I will be able to do another long video on Saturday, so watch for that coming. Husband's at the range teaching firearms training class on Saturday, so I have the house to myself. Yay! So I'll be able to get that done because I'll have the house to myself and it'll be quiet. So there'll be another long video coming on Saturday, 2 short ones on Thursday and Friday, and then I'll be taking a break on Sunday, and then we'll be back at it again on Monday. So that's going to be the schedule for this week. And so I'm going to sign off for tonight, and I will be back on with you guys tomorrow, sometime midday, whenever I get a chance to take my lunch break. So everybody have a great night. Be loud, be obnoxious, say fuck the masks, and tell Joe Biden to go to the nursing home. That's where we are. Yeah. So have a great night. Be safe. Be well. Be loud. And enjoy it. Good night, everybody.